everyone, my name's Karen Blunt, and welcome to the very first episode of Esports Unzipped, your hub for all things esports. It's going to be an exciting semester, filled with stats, highlights, theories, and so much more. But before we get into all of that, I think we need to talk about what esports are and explain the games that are being played here at a varsity level here at the University of Akron. Esports has a very simple definition, that definition being a multiplayer video game played competitively for spectators, typically by professional gamers. Now, this isn't to say that any multiplayer game can become an esport. They have to meet a few criteria before they can become an esport. First, they need to have a major audience for the game, because let's be real, if no one's watching the game, why would they pay players to play it? Next, they need to have sponsors. Without these, no one gets paid. If no one gets paid, no one wants to do anything. Lastly, they have to have some form of balance. And this is where things get a bit tricky. This doesn't mean that every character in the game is the same so that there's no differences and thus no imbalances. What it actually means is that it's an equal opportunity for everyone, the only difference being the skill level of the player. For example, Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering Online are both extremely similar games, and yet only one is considered an esport. The reason for this? Magic Online is extremely expensive. For starters, it costs $10 just to sign up, and you get a bunch of basic cards from the newest sets. Then we get to deck building. Some of the top decks being played right now can cost anywhere from $100 to $400, and that's just in Standard, which is a rotating format that has sets entering and leaving constantly. In Modern, where cards are generally only added except for the occasional ban, they can cost up to $700. Then comes along the Vintage format, where almost all cards are legal. The number one deck is almost $1,000. So, needless to say, Magic is a very expensive game. And not everyone has access to these funds to just throw into a game. And let's face it, no matter how skilled you are, you can't beat a top tier deck with just the basics. But then, you look at Hearthstone. Not only is it free to play, but the only purchasable things are packs instead of individual cards. And even if you don't want to spend money on the packs, that's okay. You can just play and earn gold to buy these packs. To earn gold, all you have to do is play against people or complete quests. Eventually, you'll earn enough gold to buy packs and then build better decks, and the process will continue. One of the greatest features in this game is that Blizzard put a bit of value on your duplicate cards. It's a minor thing, but it does eventually build up. You can disenchant your duplicate cards and get arcane dust. You can then use this arcane dust to craft new cards without having to open who knows how many packs just to get that one card you need. With these features in play, Hearthstone is very open to anyone who wants to play, and thus led it to become an esport. So if you're wondering why your favorite game isn't considered an esport, try making a checklist and see if you can tick off everything. If you can't, well, now you know why. So now that we've got the basics of an esport out of the way, let's get into the games that are being played here at the University of Akron. First, let's start with one of the most popular games in the world, League of Legends. League of Legends has a very simple concept. Pick a champion, power them up, destroy the enemy's nexus, which is a giant crystal in the middle of their base. Players will be making split-second decisions, destroying enemy champions, enemy minions, buying upgrades, slaying monsters for buffs, and so much more. No two games will ever be the same. Next, we move on to Rocket League. In its simplest form, it's basically soccer with rocket-powered cars. Now, that's not to say the game itself is simple. The game demands teamwork and precise jumps to get the ball right where you want it. Each game is 5 minutes at the minimum, but if the two teams are tied, then it goes into overtime. First team to score wins. Now let's talk about Counter-Strike. In this game, you take the role of one of two teams, a terrorist or a counter-terrorist. In this game, the terrorists plant a bomb and protect it until it goes off. The counter-terrorist must either kill all the terrorists or disarm the bomb. Between rounds, players can purchase new guns to use to help them in the coming rounds. First team to 16 wins. Next up is Hearthstone, which is an online card game. Players choose a hero to play as, and their goal is to reduce their opponent's health to 0 by playing damaging spells, summoning minions to fight, or a combo of the two, depending on the decks. I talked about it a bit earlier, so I'm not going to go into incredible detail, but the basics are that each turn you gain a mana crystal that allows you to play cards, and normally the higher the cost of the card, the stronger the card is. Lastly, we get to one of my favorite games, Overwatch. In this game, players choose a hero and work with their teammates to accomplish goals. That goal being to capture a point on the map, move a payload from one side of the map to the other, or a mixture of the two. During the game, players can swap out what hero they are playing as if they want or need in the respawn room, allowing for games to change in any time. After a round goes by, the teams flip, forcing both teams to have an equal chance at victory. Now that that's all out of the way, we can get into the good stuff. Make sure to come back here to learn about new updates on the games, news in the pro and varsity leagues, and so much more. This is going to be an exciting semester, and I honestly can't wait. If you guys have any questions or just want my opinion on anything esports, make sure to tweet me at ZTVGoofingOff and be sure to use that all-important hashtag Esports Unzipped. Until next time, I'm Karen Blenton, and I'll see you guys later.